The Charlotte ROVAL did not disappoint. A.J. Allmendinger, a non-playoff driver, won the race, but 4 drivers now have their championship hopes dashed. And we welcome in Hall of Famer Jarrett, Dustin Long. All right, guys. Dustin, I'll start with you. Were you surprised by the 4 that got eliminated after the ROVAL?
No, not really. And I think going into it, I think a lot of people looked at it as, Tyler Reddick was outside by 2 points of the cut line to Brad Keselowski, and kind of thought Tyler would be the one guy based off his success on road courses that he would knock out Brad Keselowski. Brad had never won on a road course in 42 starts in the Cup Series, only had 2 top 5s in the last 27 road course races. So a lot of challenges there, and it just did not look like a good matchup on paper. And then when you look at Bubba Wallace, while he has improved and gotten better on the road courses, unless things fell into place, you really didn't see him as being a tremendous threat to move his way in, even though he was 9 points back. Ross Chastain was 10 points back going into the ROVAL. That team has just been, they've just been upside down and just really struggled for speed a lot of part of the second half of the season. And so really didn't look like a threat. And then with Kyle Busch, you knew he had to win. He hadn't won a road course race in Cup since 2015. The guy can do it, but it just seemed like all the odds were in place that against him, that unless something unique happened, that really you were looking at Tyler Reddick versus Brad Keselowski. And I think that's kind of how it played out on Sunday.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Kyle Busch kept us interested in what was going on there. Could he make a move? Was William Byron going to get there to A.J. Allmendinger and, get to racing hard enough that it might open a door for Kyle Busch to jump in there? And then that certainly would have turned things upside down at that point in time. But once we saw the difficulty, I'll say the difficulty in passing, it's just that the drivers and these cars are just so good that, I say the cars are good. They seem to run the same speed. I don't know if that's because they're good or bad, but it makes passing difficult for these drivers. And the tires didn't mean as much as maybe we would like for that to see, to where somebody could make a big run there late. But it kind of played out the way that it did, and what you expected. I think Kyle Busch, the crash at Texas was kind of sealing his fate from the very beginning of this round and trying to move on there. So we've got 8 great teams and drivers that are moving forward, and look forward to that.
So how about DJ? Were you surprised that it took 6 races for a non-playoff driver to win one of these playoff races with A.J. Allmendinger?
I'm going to say yes, slightly, but maybe not as much as in years past. Even though, we knew there were some very capable drivers that did not make the playoffs and that were still a part of it. I think the thing that I saw this year is that the teams and drivers that were capable of winning, they seem to be there on a regular basis. So even though you have someone like a Chase Elliott sitting outside there, 2-time winner at the ROVAL, you think, well, there's a good chance that he might. And as good as AJ is on any road course, you think that he might. So that finally did happen. But I really think that even these next races are going to be dominated by the 8 drivers that are still a part of it, because these are the very best this year.
I agree with DJ in that. In one sense, I wasn't surprised in that it took this long for a non-playoff driver. Now, look, we obviously saw, Kevin Harvick had a great shot to win the Southern 500, but look, the playoffs supposed to be the best of the best, and that's what we're supposed to. I think last year we were treated to, as a big surprise in the sense of how the first round went with 3 non-playoff drivers winning. But again, that was the first year of the next gen car. There were a lot of changes, a lot of things that teams were still trying to figure out. Now teams have kind of figured things out. They've honed things in. They've been able to work that out. So I think that the best teams are so much further ahead than some of the non-playoff teams. And I think there's a bigger gap than what you saw last year. And so it's not surprising that it took 6 races. And it wouldn't surprise me if this was the only time a non-playoff driver won in these playoffs this year, just because of that, because especially when you look at the next round and look who's really strong and who's still alive in the playoffs. So I think it's played out kind of in a way maybe we thought it might play off in terms of playoff drivers and non-playoff drivers.
A lot of emotion on both sides. The guys who didn't make it through to the playoffs, and then also A.J. Allmendinger, a huge emotional win for him.
Hi, I'm Parker Kligerman. For more access like this from Pit Road, be sure to click and subscribe to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube channel.